vehicle of human perspective.
Welcome to Unbiased and On the Fence. I'm Shane. Thank you so much for joining the Friday Night Love Stream. Before we get started, I have a couple of announcements to make. This is going to be audio only because I'm going to be taking your calls shortly, and I've got to do that all on one computer, and that's kind of taxing, so no camera, sorry. I am really still here, though. It's not an AI or anything weird like that. Quick announcements. I had Alan and Sandra on from the Twin Flame Divine Fire radio show, and they had a special offer for UOTF viewers, you guys that were just watching it. So that pricing is just for us. So just so you know that was a special deal that you might want to take advantage of. Also, I had Debbie Solaris on a while back, not too long ago. Very interesting interview. Well, she's got her YouTube channel up and running now. I just wanted to do a quick announcement. I do have her link below, so you can head on over there and subscribe if you haven't already. And if you also remember when I had Julia Barnes on not too long ago, she offered her book for free reading until the end of last month, but she did continue that on to this month. She sent me a message at some point. I looked through my emails for like a half hour trying to find it to let her know I would make an announcement. And I don't know, maybe it got Mandela'd. I can't find the message, but I do know that she did say to the end of this month. So if you haven't had a chance to take advantage of that, definitely want to click the link below to the Julia Barnes interview. And in the description of that video, you will find all the links you need. Of course, tomorrow, Saturday, June 23rd, we have Eileen Colts on from the One channel, YouTube channel. And we're doing our Power of 8 at 8 p.m. Eastern. That is midnight GMT or UTC, where we're going to be combining our power of intention to change the world. So please join us live so you can take part in that. And Sunday, special day for Josee. It's her birthday. We're going to be doing a special live stream broadcast to celebrate her birthday. And we're going to be laughing, having a good time. So please join us at 1 p.m. Eastern. That's 12 noon Central Time, or 5 p.m. GMT or UTC. And I do have her link below as well. And then an hour after we get off the air, we're going to be coming right back at, let's see, it's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern or 2 p.m. Central. That is 7 p.m. UTC. And we're going to have Lothian on, and she's going to be talking about her experience with a QHHT session. Really excited about that. And then Monday, June 25th, we have Nathan Sanders on. He's back with a special episode about Sam, and it's entitled Near-Death Experience When I First Met Sam. Nathan will go into more details about his near-death experience when he first met Sam face-to-face. It should be a great show because he's going to be going into more details. Typically, we just go into the song messages, and he has a lot of people ask questions about the actual near-death experience. So we're going to tackle that Monday, and I can't believe I don't have time. It's going to be a little bit earlier than usual. I think we decided on 1 Eastern. I think that's 12 Central. I will let you guys know on the next few broadcasts what time that is. But without further ado, let me bring in Josee. How are you doing, Josee? Are you with me? Oh, doing wonderful. Nice to have you on the broadcast. I figured I could get some updates because we were talking earlier about the energies, and I've been having some sleep issues with having a hard time sleeping and waking up at odd times and things like that. And you were telling me about your experiences, so I figured while we wait for a caller, which actually, let me put I'm going to put the number on the screen, and we'll talk about 5-10 minutes, whatever it takes. The number's on the screen. 781-4-SHANE-C. I didn't know you could do this till I talked with Dan, or Dan did a live show with taking phone calls, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I didn't know I could do it for free. So let me see here. All right, I did have you muted. So
Thank you,
good
Shane.
thing you weren't saying much. Good thing I had a lot to say after I introduced you. So not a lot of dead air there. Thanks. Yeah, I had to do it all in one system, so I actually forgot to mute this time. It wasn't the fault of the little slider thing. They actually fixed that in the last update. So thank you for letting me know in the chat. Okay, Josee. We were talking about energies and stuff. How have you been feeling the last few days?
Well, like I said, though last week I had a couple of nights where it was really hard to sleep. Went to bed and couldn't sleep, got up in the middle of the night, went back, and I didn't get a restful sleep for a couple of nights. It just seems really busy in my dreams. And today and yesterday I've been really tired, but what's funny is Dan also really got tired for 2 days, and it's not like him. He got so tired. The one day he had 2 naps, which he never, ever, ever, ever had. Like it's weird. So, and last night and tonight it's dizzy. Like last night for half an hour, I've been dizzy, and tonight again, feeling a little woo.
Yeah, I've had that dizzy thing, especially when I try to meditate. It's just, it's so bad. That's what I was meaning when I said it's like taking Tylenol PM, where you're just like, wow, what's going on here?
I never tried those, but yeah, I'll take your word for it.
I imagine it's like an Ambien or something like that. I haven't taken one since I was a teenager, but I remember I accidentally bought them. And I took them. I was like, what the heck is wrong with me, dude? I don't think something's not right. And then I looked, and it's a Tylenol PM, and it had some sleep aid in it that helps you sleep. And, man, you feel like it's like 4 in the morning, and you haven't, like you got up at 6 in the morning, and it's like 4 the next morning, and you're just super tired. That's what it feels like when you take a Tylenol PM.
Oh, yeah. Well, unless you take it at night.
Right, before bed. Yeah, then it's not so bad. But yeah, I think I took it at 5 or something, so I wasn't quite ready for bed, but there was no choice after taking them. That's funny.
I know. Hey, you guys, I just want to say hi in the chat. Who's going to call first?
I actually accidentally, somebody called, and I accidentally
hang up on
I tried to mute it, and I tried to mute it, and it disconnected, so please do call back, and I will answer. I didn't know how to make it quiet, and I clicked decline, so sorry. Don't feel rejected, please.
No, please don't. See, he mutes me all the time, but I know he loves me.
Yeah.
Right, Shane?
Yeah. You're not going to go on live tonight afterwards, are you? Or are you?
I think I might. It depends how long you go for.
Well, I'll only go about an hour, so.
I want to go in the chat after.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll send you some callers from the chat.
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a good idea.
Yeah, because I know who wants to talk. I know.
There it is. I'm getting a call from the 908 area code. Let's see what this is here. And I will talk to you, I guess I'll see you Sunday. How's that? And
Sounds
in the chat,
great.
Of course. Okay, love you, Josee. Bye-bye.
Love you too. Bye.
This is Shane. You're on the air.
Hey, Shane. Hi, everybody. It's Carolina.
Carolina, how are you?
Good. How you doing? I'm actually walking right now because I have so much energy. I'm like, let me just go walking and take you guys with me.
That's awesome. What part of the country are you calling from?
I'm in New Jersey, about half hour outside of New York, so very congested area.
Sweet.
But I have a lot of green around me, so it's good. I'm not complaining.
Awesome. So, I'm so glad you could call in.
I'm excited too. I'm going to be quick, but what I was going to say is all these disturbances, I'm feeling them too on so many levels, and I pick up on so much collective energy. It's unreal. I'm just I have to go to sleep now. I can't. system overload, sleep time.
Definitely. It's a good idea, too, if your body's telling you to take a nap, even if it's in the middle of the afternoon, of course, if you're not at work. But it's a good idea to just do it, because I think sometimes we're getting upgrades and things, and your body just needs to, it's kind of like when you go into surgery or something. You have to get put to sleep,
Absolutely. But no, the whole awakening, I feel it happening, and I see it happening all around me. And even those that aren't aware of the whole Mandela and the quantum shifting and this and that, and they're still stuck in their, paradigm loops.
Yeah.
I see them starting to awaken, like deep inside, they know. You know what I mean? I feel that. I literally sense that fire in them starting to burn up.
Yeah, I agree.
That whole...
I've been noticing a separation in people, too. People becoming more loving, and then other people becoming more hostile. It seems like, I don't know. It's something going on. It's like some people aren't handling the energies well, and it's sort of agitating to them, I think. And then
others, could be, yeah.
Others of us, it makes us tired. And so while I've got you on the phone, how did you stumble across the Mandela effect? Did you hear about it and then look into it, or was it the other way around?
Well, my whole life, I've always been extra sensitive to energies and just noticing things kind of outside of the box. And the Mandela effect was actually pretty recent for me. It was about a year ago I discovered it, and then that just sent me down another rabbit hole. And you know the loop.
Oh, definitely. What's your big one? What's your big Mandela effect change?
The Statue of Liberty.
Oh, yeah, it's right there in your neck of the woods. I mean, it used to be in New York. Now it's actually in New Jersey, technically, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And I actually went last August. I think it was right before the eclipse I went. And I went there, and I was just, everything, just the whole vibe of it, it wasn't how I remembered it when I was a young girl. It was just completely different. So, and now they have the what is it, the top of it closed off, the crown, they have it closed off. They don't even allow anybody up there anymore.
Right. The torch, I think it was, right?
Yeah, I think it was the torch. The torch or the crown. I forget which one, but either one, you can't go all the way up there.
Right. And then that actually brings up the fact that we were attacked by, what was it, Germany or something? And they had to close it off because of damage. And I was like, what? We never got attacked. So it's like every time you find something, it sends you down this rabbit hole, because you're like, I remember like when 9/11 happened, they were saying it was the second time we had gotten attacked on American soil, the first being Hawaii. What was that?
Pearl Harbor.
Yeah, Pearl Harbor. And I remember them specifically saying that, and that's sticking in my head. But now it's like we got attacked 4 different times or something. It's just strange. And it's like that people don't notice it is weird, too.
No. And yeah, same thing with 9/11. Like, my birthday's actually 9 days after 9/11. And in second period in photography class, and them like getting a phone call, turn on the news, and just seeing it. And I was stunned. I was absolutely stunned. Of course, I had the normal reaction anybody would have. I just fell into this like deep depression. Like, how could this happen, Yeah. But something told me, like, there's more to the story than what meets the eye.
Oh,
even
definitely.
that young, I was just like digging in rabbit holes.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I remember, gosh, that was a day I'll just never forget, because it was so, I remember watching that first tower come down, and it was so much emotion, just knowing there had to be people in there at that moment, and it was, so overwhelming.
Absolutely. And I live right across the river from it, so it's just all that energy seared out right into New Jersey, and you could even see the cloud of it from my house.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. It was pretty intense.
I bet.
But we know. There's no use rehashing that,
Yeah.
So.
That's even different now. I mean, they said that, the 2 main towers fell, and then I remember there was like another one, like building 5 or 6 or something that fell. But now they said all of them have fallen or were destroyed or something.
Well, if you go downtown where it is, it looks very different. It's completely redone. So. That whole like downtown area where the towers were completely redone.
That's amazing. So do you have people around you that's awake, or are you sort of floating around by yourself in your real world, with a bunch of asleep people? Or?
Well, they're mostly asleep. So I have my own challenges trying to, still blend in, I guess.
Yeah.
But I'm honestly at the point where I'm just speaking my truth, whether it resonates or not anymore to people. That's okay. And that's kind of, I feel like, what we should all do. Just keep speaking the truth. You know what I mean? Just keep putting it out there. And eventually we're going to spark the minds. It's bound to happen. Plant a seed. It's
Definitely.
Bound to happen.
Yeah,
So,
that
sorry, I'm a
was.
little out of breath. I'm running.
Oh, no problem. Well, I really appreciate you calling in.
Of course. But yeah, just keep planting seeds, keep spreading positive energy. Find the positive in the negative. There's always going to be a positive, so we just have to find it.
Definitely be that light where people want to find out why are you shining like that? What do you have that I don't have? That's kind of how I think about it.
Exactly. Walking on sunshine.
I heard that.
I heard that too yesterday when I walked into the grocery store. I was like, oh yeah.
That is one of those songs
dancing.
that play in my head from time to time. It's like just out of the blue, it'll just be playing in my head.
I was born in the 80s, so I don't really remember the music back then, but there's certain songs that just come to me because I'm a channel for music, so it's a vibration,
Yeah, definitely. My daughter, she's 20. She'll be 24 this year, and she likes 80s music more than I do. And I'm like, how's this? It is the best era for rock music, for sure, I think, anyway.
Absolutely. I agree. Definitely agree. Well, it was nice talking to you.
Wonderful talking
everybody.
to you. Yeah, everybody's saying hi.
Chat.
Okay. All right, have a good one now.
You too. Have a good one. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome. So yeah, man, that was something huge with the with 9/11. It's just to think back on that. I was actually at a celebrity's house. I'm not into sports, so I can't remember who it was, but somebody that played for the Rams that day, and I had to go and do service call on his intercom system. Gosh, I wish I could remember that player's name. I'm just not a big sports guy, so it wasn't any big deal to me, but I remember wanting him to turn it on his TV because, and he looked at me and he's like, "Are you serious?" Like I was joking around about it, and I'm like, "Nah, man, turn on the TV. It's on every channel, and he turned it on, and it was really hard for me to concentrate on work because, man, it was just such a big day. So phone lines are open, or phone line, I should say, is open, 781-474-2632 or 781-4-SHANE-C. I actually was trying to, you can actually search numbers out, and I was like trying to put like UOTF, and then this one came up with a 4 before SHANE-C. Cornell is my middle name, but I went by that for a while, and it's like, I can't believe it. I got lucky and found something that's easy to remember. Of course, a lot of smartphones nowadays don't even have the number or the letters on there. I think they've started changing that. My phone does, but for a while there, you're like, what are the numbers? What are the letters that go with the numbers? But if you do have that, the old traditional dialing pad, it's easy to remember, 781-4-SHANE-C. And let's see here. Let's see if I'm missing anything. Yes, Josee, sweet caller. It's wonderful to hear the voice of people. Oh, look what we have here. Biker Babe, what is up?
Shane, I finally get a chance to talk to you.
That's awesome. Yeah, we've been talking for a while now through email or whatever, and it's so nice to have you come on the show.
You're right. I've been waiting to call in. I've been waiting actually for you to have another call-in show, but it seems like I'm always working when you have a show.
Yeah, and I quit doing the messenger thing because I was just having some issues with that. But once I had Dan do the call-in show with Google Hangouts, I'm like, I can get a Google number? What's this all about? And so I went and checked it out, and it was free. I'm like, holy cow, it's free. All this free stuff that we have no idea is available to us. And here it is.
That's right. Yeah, right. Exactly.
It's hard to get anything for free nowadays, but Google can afford it, I guess. So you had a QHHT session.
I did, and it was absolutely amazing. And you're going to be real interested in I went back and met with my practitioner, and you're going to be real interested in what we came up with afterward.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I don't know if I should tell you now or wait.
Yeah, because you're going to come on the show. Is this your way of getting out of coming on the show? You're like, I'll just call, so I don't have to go on there. No, you've got so much to cover. I mean, I know an hour is not even going to, it's probably going to be an hour and a half at least, I would think, because you've got all of those stories that I think are important to share, because I think they could tie into the Mandela effect with, those sort of things where you feel like maybe you jumped the timeline, And because of the situation, that's really got me thinking. I always think back to those stories of yours when it comes to that. And then the other thing is the dreams you just had. You have time to share those dreams. You want to share the dreams? Because those were really something, I thought. You don't have to, but you can.
Yeah, the most recent ones I've had, the only way I can explain it is it was very lucid. And the first one, and I had them both in the same night. And the first one, I was in a house with people, and some people I knew and some people I didn't, and I could see the sun literally rolling at us, and it was eating up the earth as it was coming. And it was black and red, and it was absolutely terrifying. And we all sat down on the floor, covered our heads, kind of like what we're told to do, you know, when the actual when it all happens, you know. And so we were down on the floor, and I'm thinking I should be feeling my skin literally coming off. It was so huge and coming at us, and it passed over, and we all stood up, and we were fine.
Amazed that nothing happened.
Amazed that nothing happened. And so the second one, I was actually meeting my son, and these were both in the same night within a very short time. And it was the same thing. I could see it coming for us, and we ran for shelter, and we put our heads over the baby, and because he had his daughter with him. And we put our arms over ourselves and just covered up, and we're like, okay, this is the end, goodbye, you know, and it rolled over us, and once again, we were okay. It was just like amazing. I couldn't understand, you know, why there was no heat coming from this ball of fire that was so huge. You just can't even imagine how terrifying it was.
That was one of the things that amazed me, is that they were like two completely different scenarios, but with the same thing happening, and it was in the same night. And to me, it was saying that something big is coming, and it might be scary seeming, but, you know, you're going to make it through with no problems. Don't worry. To me, that's how it was anyway.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression I got also. And then I was wondering if anybody else out there has had dreams about actually encounters with animals, and the animals that, like, I had one with bears, and I also had one with lions, and in one night I had 3 dreams about lions, you know, and being terrified of them, but they were friendly. I don't know what that might mean, but those were very recent.
And that's similar to the other ones, where it's like it appears that you should be frightened of something, but there was no need to be scared at all. I totally think that's probably what it's saying, in my opinion anyway. But I'm not a dream analyst, so I don't know. But that's what it seems like. I kind of just take it with, you know, the feeling you get with it, and that's sort of what I got when I heard the first 2 anyway.
Yeah, and I've always had lucid dreams my whole life, and most of the time I have control over them, but these ones I didn't. You know, I was totally lost in a dream. It had total control over me, and so, yeah, I have enough interesting stories for everybody.
Definitely, yeah, and yeah, I was bringing up the one with the feather. I couldn't remember the exact details of it the other day, but that's going to be a great one. Ronnie from Florida is saying, I did a tiger and a giant sea snake. That sounds terrifying. So
I see that.
So it's,
wow.
You know, and that takes me back to, there was like some scripture in the Bible about a beast coming out of the sea, and then one on the land or something. So there you have your land and your. I always try to figure out if, you know, biblical scriptures or whatever can tie into stuff, because I always think stuff is just taken wrong, or, you know, you can just try to view it symbolically or something. That you never know, because I've gotten a lot of great stuff out of the Bible my whole life, you know.
I agree with you, and I love your take on the Bible. To me, that's it just makes me feel so much better because of the changes and just the way you describe everything and explain it. It's like, I love it. It just makes me feel so much better. But I see someone else, Transmissions Forever, had one with lions and lionesses, and they licked them all over. because I'm watching the chat while I muted it, but I'm watching it.
Oh, right. Yeah, I love Lion. Let's see. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's funny. Yeah, I had a neighbor that had this dog that seemed real vicious. Like, oh, don't worry, she might lick you to death, but she won't. She won't.
I got dogs. One of them just dragged in something that was so rotten, the whole house stinks. I got to try to find it. So.
Oh, no.
Anyway.
Well, I really appreciate you calling in, Biker Babe. It's been a long time, and you've been a long-time viewer, and I am so appreciative of all you do in the community. Yeah, I see you all over the place. I lurk a lot, so you know, I don't like to just hop in and, you know, be the center of attention. I like to just sort of enjoy the show quite a bit of the time and not try to steal it. You know what I mean? So I will lurk a lot, and I know that you're like real active in the community, and it's like we're all doing our parts, and I love it. So definitely one of the family.
Right on. Thank you. So, okay. Well, I'll let you go then so somebody else can call in.
All right. Lots of love to you. Bye-bye.
You too, Shane. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Biker Babe. Good to talk to her in person, and can't wait to get her on because, gosh, she's got some great stories, and I don't want to ruin it, but I've been captivated by the life she's led and the stories she has. So I know you guys will definitely enjoy it. Let's see. I don't know if I know Dan with Talk is Cheap. He's doing live shows now with a call-in. He has a call-in number as well, and he was getting multiple calls at the same time. And I haven't had that problem, so I don't know if people just aren't calling. If people are calling one at a time, that's awesome. If that's what's happening, or you know, I just don't know. So anyway, phone line is open 781-474-2632. And we'll see who chimes in here. Scott Like Warrior Craig. Are you on the road, man? Are you at home? Aren't you traveling right now? I was wanting to check in with you yesterday. I need to see also. Let me get this open here. Oh, let me see. Okay, yeah, that's the right thing, isn't it? Okay, still kind of new at this whole thing. I'm trying to see if I'm getting any Facebook calls coming in here. Also, you can call in if you would rather call in on Messenger if you're overseas and you want to call in on Facebook Messenger and we are already friends. You can do it that way as well. I will open up Facebook Messenger. Let's see. Confirm those two. All right, getting a call here. This is Shane. Welcome to the program.
Hey, so exciting. I'm so glad I found your show. This has been really amazing for me. Very synchronistic things that you talked about. So I'm enjoying it very much. And thank you for the time that you put into doing this for us all.
Oh, it's my labor of love. I love doing it. I wish I could do it all the time, actually. I do it as much as I can. So what's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm Ronnie in Florida. Exactly, Ronnie in Florida.
Oh, Ronnie in Florida.
Yeah, although hopefully it'll soon be Ronnie in Virginia. I'm looking for a move. So if anybody's in Virginia, I'm going to be looking for a tribe. So.
Hey, Twin Flame Divine Fire. Welcome to the chat. So yeah, so you're moving from Florida to Virginia. Do you have family there?
I do, but I'm not moving for family. I'm moving for me, for my happiness. I long for mountains, and now there's nothing keeping me in Florida, and I'm going. So, going for my mountains.
Ah, that's nice. Yeah, it's beautiful up there.
Yes. Well, I called because I had a vision. I don't meditate often, and I happened to meditate, and this was just a couple of weeks ago, and I had a really odd vision. I saw something when I have my kind of visionary things, a lot of times it's just like in this blue sky. That's all there is. There's no land, there's no clouds. Sometimes there's clouds, but usually it's just bare blue sky. And it looked like a bat, but when I looked closer, and it was really odd because it was like I could keep zooming in with my eyes like they were a camera, and I could zoom in closer and closer. So I zoomed in, and it wasn't a bat, it was a flock of birds. And as I zoomed in more, and I could see each individual bird very clearly, and I zoomed in a little more, and they all started to pixelate like they were computer generated. It was just weird. And so I'm curious if anybody else has had any kind of vision like that.
That seems like a peek behind the veil, or like a look at the true nature of our holographic reality or something, like the Matrix.
Yeah.
Sort of.
Yeah, it was really bizarre. I've never had anything like that before. So it was interesting and weird, but I liked the aspect of just being able to zoom in at will.
Yeah.
Cool.
Are you into graphic design or anything like that?
No, I kind of played with it when my son was young. I taught him on the computer and, kind of got him going and just dabbled in art and got him going. So now he's like an amazing artist and does computer graphics as well. So he did, for one of his classes in college, he did a chameleon that is a spy, and he goes running along the wall and blends in and stuff. It was just so cool. I still love it. I would watch it all the time. It's very short, but it's like, oh, this is so awesome. So yeah, he's super talented, way more than I am. So
yeah, it's like the kids are like that. My kids are like that too. It's like they pick up stuff so easily compared to what we had to deal with. But they were sort of raised on computers, always been around, and so it's just, I guess, easier for them. Plus, a lot of them are like these rainbow kids and stuff now,
Yeah, the kids now are just amazing, awesome little people.
Yeah.
I am stunned by the difference in them, and it is real. I'd love to hear what other people think about it too.
Yeah, definitely. So you guys can chime in the chat and say whether you've had a dream like that, or a dream similar to that, is to the whole peeking behind the veil and getting a glimpse of the Matrix. I don't know, that's what I get from it. I'm not really, like I said, I'm not a dream analyst or anything. I just kind of, whatever pops in my head, Did you have a thought of what it meant when you had it?
It felt like it was showing me that reality is kind of art, Right. It's not as real as we think it is, but I don't know. I really am terrible at analyzing my own stuff. I have had a lot of dreams where, they're kind of prophetic, and I got them totally wrong because I injected my desire of what I wanted it to be instead of what it was. My sister actually passed away. She had breast cancer, but before I knew that it had come back, I had a dream about her. And I was looking for her in a city, and I found, it was like a crack house kind of place. And I knocked on the door, and these people answered the door, and they were just, dirty and ugly, nasty people, and they wouldn't let me see her, but I could kind of see inside past them, and I could see her sitting on the floor. And she looked terrible. She looked like she was dying. And then, so I went and got the police and came back, and they dragged off all the people, and I went in the house, and all of a sudden, everything changed. It was like it was dark and dirty inside. All of a sudden, light came pouring in, and she, illuminated, and she changed from sick and dirty to healthy and glowing. So I told my son about this dream. I was like, this was horrible and crazy, but it was so beautiful at the end. And the next day she called me and told me her cancer had come back. And I was like, oh my God, well, you're going to be fine. I saw it in a dream. You're going to be healthy. But it wasn't. She became illuminated. She went to spirit. And I didn't want to recognize it or see it. So, yeah, it's, if you're too close to it, I think, you you have a hard time discerning and separating what you want from what can actually be the meaning behind it. So it was such a beautiful dream, and it really has helped me to move on eventually. It was very hard. I became very depressed after that. So she was my best friend. I still miss her, but now it's time for my life to move on. So
and you'll be
I know
reunited
she's safe.
for sure.
Yeah, I know. She's better off than I am, probably.
Definitely.
She's definitely where it's beautiful and full of light. I know that for a fact. So
yeah, now you can look back in retrospect and you know that's exactly what the dream was saying, that this world is that dirty place, and she got taken away to a place of light and love. And so we're selfish. We want our people with us, but you know, if we really think about it from their point of view, we would have nothing but joy. That's how I did with both my parents who passed away of cancer. It was rough on me, but you know, I was glad their suffering was over and that they were in a better place. And I know I'll reunite with them. I'll miss them for a while. It's like they've gone on a long trip, and you know, I have to kind of wait around to see them again. But it'll happen.
Yeah. With no cell phones available, they're just on a trip with no cell phones.
Which actually sounds kind of nice, you know, away from all the electronics and just like a real, you know, island somewhere away from everything.
Yeah, I wish that I could share the vision of what happened in the room at the end with everybody who's losing somebody, because it was so beautiful. I mean, it wasn't just that it was light and clean. It was filled with light. It was like the light was just, it was magical.
It's like emanating from her, really.
Yeah, from her, you know, into the room and out of her, too. I mean, she was glowing. It was beautiful. It was so beautiful. And I hope that anybody who is losing somebody can hold that picture of just gorgeous light that's waiting on the other side. It's just waiting for us. So, well, I will let your other callers call in.
Thank you, Ronnie from Florida. That was a wonderful story, and I hope it does encourage someone out there. And I hope to hear from you again.
Oh,
thanks.
Absolutely. I'll be lurking.
All right, thanks for calling.
Thank you again. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye. We're ready for you, Craig. Sorry about that. Yeah, I can't. I tried to go ahead and answer it and put it on hold, but it won't let me answer it if I'm in a call. So that's really unfortunate. But anyway, yeah, whoever's next can call in, and we'll just take them as they come. How's that? But yeah, that's a wonderful story. We all have, most of us anyway, have people that we've lost, and we'll see them again. You know, it hurts. It's sad. We'll miss them. But it's not permanent. Like, you know, the world will have you think that death is a permanent thing, but I know it isn't. I've seen way more than... There we have a caller. This is Shane. Welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty good. How are you?
Doing well. It's been a while.
Yes, sir. Scott Light Warrior Craig, for those who don't know. Are you traveling now, man?
No. It's, yeah, it has been a while. A lot of things have happened.
You say you're not traveling?
No, I'm still at my house.
Oh, okay. Did you just postpone it, or you plan on getting back to it?
Well, what happened was I was supposed to get picked up from Jace and then Alexis Buck from Ascension Diaries, and they got stopped at the border, and they weren't let into the States.
Oh.
And so before that, I got rid of just about everything I owned, and except for 2 bags, and I let go of everything, and it was quite a surprise. But the universe told me that I'm still needed here, and that the mission has been done on a higher dimension, and so that was pretty eye-opening. That was But, yeah, besides that, so many things have happened since then.
So you can start to see the bigger purpose at hand. That's why I live my life, like what you're just saying there. I live my life by open and closed doors. You know what I mean? I trust my higher self will close the doors I don't need to go through and open the doors that I do need to go through. And those things happen in synchronistic ways. And that sounds like sort of what happened to you. You were planning on doing something and the door closed. And my life's been that way, really.
And I think the power of intentions is stronger than we can even see. And I think that's what I was told what happened, that it already happened through me already thinking about it, doing it, seeing it happen. And I guess as soon as I saw it happen, that happened.
Oh, I see.
I went into a meditation and I went into a light body, and I was taken to, or I shouldn't say taken, it's just when we are in that, we don't even have to think.
Right.
We just do the highest good of whatever our path is while we're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was taken there and activated it, Mount Shasta, and it was really intense. It felt very real. And I was like, I know what I have to do now. And then I'm like, wow, I got it so strong, and now I'm not going. But I get very clear answers, and it was pretty much saying I can relax, that it's already been done, that you don't quite know how much you're really actually doing because you're only shown so much. And I went through some activations since then that blew my mind, like something I've never heard, seen, anything.
Mm-hmm.
It was, I woke up one morning and I remembered I had this bottle of water that I had blessed a week prior. So I was about to go get water, and I was like, oh yeah, I have that at the foot of my bed. And I blessed it again as I was pouring it, and then I drank it. And it could have been that or not, or it could have just been timing of everything, but I started seeing something, and I wasn't quite for sure what it was. And I was like, is that in my room? Is that my vision? Is that in my head? What is that? And it was just this small, like little clear ball almost, like a little crystal ball. And as I was like looking around, I was like, no, it's in my head. It's following my vision. And
was it glowing, or just it looked sort of like just a glass ball, like a marble?
No,
like
it was a crystalline ball.
Mm-hmm.
And then it started getting bigger and bigger, and the colors were changing. And it was, while I was going through it, Michelle Wolf called me, and I wasn't going to answer the phone, but I was like, I think I need to share this while I'm going through it, because I feel like I could use the phone still. And I was very much in my higher self. Everything was slower, and the energies were much deeper, and it was getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I could focus on it, and it was just the most beautiful thing, but it was like a crescent moon. It went from a little ball, and it started turning into like a crescent moon, just getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And I think it was going through my third eye and officially opening it. I think we go through some of these things, and it's like, it takes the cap off, and it upgrades it, and then it puts the cap back on until there's a greater shift when it's needed.
Now, was this during meditation, or was it just, what was your state?
I didn't meditate. It was the first thing right when I woke up in the morning.
Oh, okay, when you're sort of half asleep and half awake, or groggy a little bit.
Yeah. I was laying there, and I always thank the universe before I open my eyes.
Mm-hmm. And
I do different appreciation things in the morning. And I was like, what is this?
Right.
And I was like, it lasted 4 hours.
Oh, wow.
And then the previous day, or the day after, and this was just a few days ago, it started doing it again, but on a smaller scale. But there's something even more exciting that I would love to talk about that happened before that. This was during meditation, and I was like, I was feeling the energy, feeling it in my head, totally feeling my crown, and I was like, I'm just going to lay down, have no expectations, and just close my eyes and meditate. Usually I do it differently every time, and this time, as soon as I closed my eyes, I woke up in a golden room, and it felt very real. It lasted about 3 seconds. It kicked me out, and I opened my eyes. I was like, wow. I was like, I wonder if I can tap back into that. And sure enough, I tapped straight back into that. Tried to hold it as long as I could, look around, but it was so intense. Like, I could even hear the energy. It was, things were morphing, and it was all gold. Kicked me out again. And I was like, okay, I'm going to really try to look around and see if I can get up, because I was laying flat on the floor, and I was in a type of my light body, wearing the white and gold armor that I wear on the other side. And I did, and it was so hard. The energies were so intense. And I was looking around, and so I started looking around, and everything was, it's so hard to describe the sound it's so, yeah, I can't even describe it. But I was able to look around, and everything was constantly morphing as I was getting up, and then it kicked me out again. But it felt like as I rest here, I wake up there, but I was able to be a part of it.
What do you think was kicking you out? Was it because sometimes I'll feel like if something's really exciting, because a lot of things that happen right about the time I'm falling asleep, and I'm trying to do that out of body thing, and I'll feel my body start to buzz, and I'm like, oh my gosh, here it comes, and then I think my adrenaline from the excitement of it pulls me out. Do you think it was something like that? The excitement of what you were seeing was pulling you out, or what do you think it was?
This was different. This was, I needed to fully be resting. I felt, this was my knowing, I needed to fully be resting in order to wake up there. But I wasn't rested. I was just going into a meditation. And I'm not the only one. There's another practitioner that almost looks the exact same. I don't want to mention names right now because I don't know if she, I'll let her disclose that.
That's fine.
But so I was like, okay, I get it. I know that's where I do a lot of work when I'm in sleep state. And I was like, I'm just going to not even think about that. So I went into it again, but this time I automatically was holding this chalice that was crystal and gold, and it was, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 people could touch hands and fit around this chalice, but I was holding it up, and I didn't quite look like me, because we don't always look like ourselves on the other higher dimension. And I was wearing that white and gold armor, and I actually had long hair, and I've never never had long hair. I was like, oh, good, I have some hair. And I'm tipping it back. I'm watching it from above.
Right.
And I'm tipping it back, and I'm drinking this bright white light. And then I fully opened my eyes. I'm like, okay, now I'm just going to sit here for a minute. And I was like, gosh, what was that? And I was like, was that something I did prior contract to this lifetime? Was that something that I just witnessed? Was it something else? But it was, blew my mind. Out of all the things I've seen, that had to be the most vivid. And I was like, it didn't feel like a dream. It felt very real.
Man, that's amazing. It's almost like I think of the Holy Grail when you're talking about this. It's like, and then I think about drinking the light. Lately, I've been doing, I even did it with the guided meditation I did. Just imagining breathing in the light is just so powerful for some reason. it's just light is just so powerful, you know. And now you've got me thinking, because I'll often put the light in my water. Like if I have a bottle of water, I'll imagine swirling light going through it and, you know, putting light in it. But I don't often think about it while I'm actually drinking it. So I'm going to start doing that too, because it's
Absolutely.
powerful.
And you know what? I got to trigger a really good one. You did a show about the Ark of the Covenant, and I was actually in the kitchen, and I was putting away the dishes, and I was just glued. I was glued to that show that you were doing. I was like, and something happened, and I ran to my room, and because I was getting this repeated in my head. So I don't remember exactly what it was said, but something triggered it in me. And it kept repeating over and over again. And I was like, okay. And I ran to my room to write it down.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, I am his father as he is my son. I am his son as he is my father. And it kept repeating like that in different ways. And it was like, you are my father as you are my son. And it kept saying it over and over again. And at the end it says, as always, we are love and light. And like my hand started shaking so much. I don't know what it was. It was something during that show that was just like,
yeah,
it felt like a different kind of activation, like always knowing that no matter what, God's always there. Like that's what it really felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's why the part of that whole thing with the Ark of the Covenant that resonated with me the most was our activation. Not so much a device somewhere hidden in a cave that, you know, you can reassemble, but us becoming that collector, if you will, or, you know, combining our hemispheres of our brain and our chakra systems and all of that to usher in that Christ consciousness and, you know, glow with our love light from God or creator, source, whatever you want to call it, you know. It's like we're all making this transformation.
I got that same knowing that, so I was looking back to years and years and civilizations before and how things were, and it's, you know, I could just stop right there at, that's how things were.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not how it is anymore, and what we're going into is what it is now. And that light, I don't know if that light was always in everyone else back thousands of years ago, but it definitely is now for definitely this time, and I agree with that.
Yeah, that brings in the whole thought of the whole fall of humanity, and before that, you know, maybe we were these pure vessels that, you know, knew what we were doing, and then we were toyed with at some point, and now we're trying to get back to that point where, you know, we have that connection with source like we used to have. I don't know. I'm on the fence about all that stuff, man, but I definitely can see things changing around us. Energies feel different, and I feel the transformation happening, you know.
Speaking of on the fence, one thing I've been helping a lot of people most days throughout the weeks, and even with me, with a lot that comes to me, I still take, you know, you can look at like catch. I look at that ball and I throw it back out, because when it's Alan Watts said it best. He said, when you hold on to something like a religion, you don't leave room for anything else. And he studied every single religion out there, and it's absolutely true. Once you think you have an idea, you're blocking yourself from the possibilities of endless miracles, you know. And
I totally agree.
I always, you know, sometimes have a couple of pretty amazing, loving ideas in the back of my head once in a while, but I always know that anything is possible.
Definitely. Yeah, and that whole on the fence thing, it's like, you know, each group, each religion or whatever is built around at least some bit of truth. And if you can sort of not hop into any specific box, or I always imagine it like cubicles with no door, and you're sort of like a waffle, like from above, you know, and it's like everybody doesn't see down in the square everybody's got families that they love and not so much different from one another, but you can't see into the next box if you're down in the box. So you got to rise above it all to be able to see the common, what we all have in common, and the things that are true about each of the different groups. And then you start realizing that, like, hey, they're saying the same thing this group is saying, just sort of differently, but it's pretty much the same, you know what I mean? I couldn't believe it one time I came across this video. I think it was Hindu. I was a Christian at the time, but it was a Hindu guy, and I was like, the whole time he was talking, I was sitting there thinking, I thought this guy was a Christian the whole time. He's really not saying much different than a Christian person would be thinking. But, we aren't much different when you really, if you can sort of get out of your worldview and feel like, hey, they're the enemy, I know what's right, they don't, and kind of get away from that whole division thing, you really see the beauty of humanity and how much we could easily come together and unite if we could just set aside our differences and really embrace our differences, you know what I mean? Just like with race or anything else.
It's the difference between limited and unlimited. There was a point of my awakening where I had a ton of knowledge, and it was just flooding through me. Mm-hmm. And I didn't talk to anybody then. It was just something I've never gone through.
All right.
And I went, definitely through these different waves where I thought I knew it all, mm-hmm. or if I wanted to know it, I would know it. And definitely, especially now, but as time went on, the letting go is just huge. I mean, it's because, we've talked about this. Everyone's perception is literally their own perception.
Yeah.
And, I've had this battle with my father, who's super Christian, and that's been a something.
I know. I have my Christian, and I just stay away from it now because it just divides, and I know that they're too busy thinking about their comeback to ever listen to anything I'm saying. It's, it's just, just let them believe what they want to believe, and if they come to think like I think, that's great. If they stay where they're at, that's fine too. We're all on our own path. I've had to be okay with that.
Yeah, it's so many levels, so many everything. That's why sometimes just uplifting is, and we don't need to. Yeah, I agree. I was wondering if I could share some poetry I wrote yesterday and today.
Yeah, please do.
It I know it helps me out, and it helps others out, and
I like the fact that comes from that deeper part of us that's connected. You know what I mean? Whenever you get into the arts, whether it's writing or music or anything like that, it's tapping in to that creator. I think anyway, that that creator part of us, our essence.
That it's a divine muse that just flows, like when you're connected with your higher self, something resonates, and you feel that passion to do it. It's not like, there are times where I'm like, well, maybe I should write something that'll help, and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and nothing's flowing.
Yeah.
And these are, the stuff I write is like, it makes me run to the paper, and I'm like, wow, this is good. I need to get it on paper.
Yeah, whenever you think that, wow, this is good, it's coming from somewhere higher because you're impressed with it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yesterday was a tough one. It came at me hard, and I know I wasn't alone. And it was a whole different kind of purging, which I'll get to my dream that was last night. But I'll say this first. I actually wrote this after I did a meditation that Michael Garber did yesterday, and I was just sitting there feeling great. My day went from on top of the mountain just to slowly going down, and I was like, oh, the energies. And then my head was getting sore, but all right. I'm longing for the things I've missed, a remembrance of that peaceful bliss. A time will come when we will unite. that time will come when we all shine bright. The suffering soon will be no more. With our open hearts, we expand, we explore. And then today, like I kept reading this over and over again, because it was kind of helping me. Even though I had already written it, I was like, God, I feel like I want to read it again. And then after that, this morning, I wrote another one. It just came flowing to me again. Remember that we came from above. Remember we came here to live, laugh, love. So love thy neighbor and love thyself. Your open heart is the only wealth. And if you need someone, and if you need some help, just look above, for that's where we came from, God's true love.
I love that. Very encouraging.
I think it's coming to me to help others because we're going through a time where it's different and it's not easy and it's testing, and all we got to do is just remember a few things and it gets us right back to where we were. You know, it's
yeah, it's sort of the thing with the like repeating that poem or just reading it. It's sort of like I think of the whole I am discourse when I make those proclamations from the I am discourse. It just, I don't know, it shifts your awareness, your thinking to, because a lot of times, man, we're just tired. We want to get out of here. We're just, you know, just impatient. And then we just need to shift our perspective. And, you know, just reading a poem like that or saying an I am, you know, or doing a mantra or so many things to sort of get us back on track when we're feeling that way. But we have to ultimately be in control of that, you know. We can ask for help, but we have to do the things we know to do, you know.
That was the first thing that I learned on my own was I was always a deep thinker, and I was like, I need to shut that off somehow, and I need to. And once I worked on and did past life regression, I had a lot of void, a lot of empty space, and I was like, I want to fill it with something. Mm-hmm. And so I filled it with, and I still to this day, I'll walk around because I just fill it with, I am love, I am light, I am pure energy, I am presence. Mm-hmm. And I'll just repeat that. And if I want it to be really powerful, I'll repeat it in a triangle shape, mm-hmm. Then I'll say it on each side and go, and I'll do it at a different resonance, but it helps a ton. Yeah, it's
I totally agree.
Nobody else is going to do it. I had to practice that on my own, and once you just start doing it, it's a habit. It's a good habit, I believe.
Yeah, I agree. Making it a habit is definitely. You know, like you were saying, thinking, what did you say you do when you first wake up in the morning?
I thank the universe because everything is in the universe and there's a flow to everything. And so I give it that appreciation. I mean, it's even the same thing with manifesting is to manifest one thing, to know there's a balance in everything. And so it's finding that flow where it doesn't pull too hard or push too hard somewhere else, but you just find that flow. And I think that's what's becoming with all of us. Once we actually become, we are one, we all get in that same flow, and then we're getting there.
I definitely agree. Fun times, man. It's like like I was saying, it can get, you can get impatient sometimes, but I think we're going to look back, you know, if we can just get over that impatience and realize how much is changing. You know, I had Jamie send me an email and he goes, look at your first video, look how much you've changed. And, you know, Josee's changed so much, we're all changing. Eileen, I mean, anybody I look at the old videos and then look at them now, it's like they're just glowing. Even, I can't think of the YouTuber's name, but man, it's like everyone, if you just pay attention to how much we've changed within just the last year, man, it's amazing. And it's sort of, when you look back and see how far we've come, it makes it easier to realize things are changing. Don't get impatient. Just enjoy it, because there's going to come a time that we're going to think, man, those were good times, like going through that shift and bringing about this new world, you know?
And I think, because this has been tried before, but I feel like we're actually doing it right. Mm-hmm. We're doing it with a lot of love, and because if you go back every like 20 or 30 years, there's been something that's been tried by different groups, and they've been looked at as cults and all these other things. And I even barely saw a video yesterday, and I turned it off, but I was looking up summer solstice stuff. Mm-hmm. And I clicked on this one, and I don't know who it was, but they were like, if you believe in this stuff, you're going to see these people. They act like they're love and they're flowers, and they're going to have their Satan crystals and their all of this. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was like, I have to remember, there are people out there that think that for some reason, but you know, that's you do it from the heart and with love, and it's like, it seems pretty simple. And that's another thing. Others prior looked like they were worshiping one person, like it was a cult, and it's like everyone's their own person. Yeah. You know, it's like we've seen us try this, and now it's working, and I think that's why it's working at the rate it is, because like they just put out the documentary about the Rajneesh here in Oregon back in 1980 or early 80s. And it was like, I could see where that was and what happened to it and how it got to where it was. You know, times were just different then. Yeah. And so you got all the guys from the 50s and 60s, and they're like, look at these cultists, let's shut it down. And it got ugly, but it's not like that at all anymore, which is kind of nice.
I totally agree, man. Love is definitely the answer. And then when I heard Tom Campbell, I think he was a NASA physicist. Please don't be turned off by that. Some people are just like so against NASA or whatever. But this guy, Tom Campbell, if you look into him, he was discussing entropy and how, if you think about it, every single person on the planet, if they were looking out for every other person on the planet instead of themselves, think of how there wouldn't be any crime, there wouldn't be any of the problems we have right now. There wouldn't be any war if everyone was treating everyone else and protecting everyone else. And then instead of you just looking out for yourself, you would have every single person on the planet looking out for you. You wouldn't need to look out for yourself. And think about...
I saw that as well, yeah.
That would be a completely different... That would be the perfect world, you know? You wouldn't even have to be selfish. Just service to others would be service to yourself, you know?
It just makes me think of that vision I got. I don't know how long ago it was now, but when I asked to get a vision about how it would look for the ones that are asleep. Mm-hmm. And now everyone, there was this flash, and everyone was saying, I love you, more or less, and here you can have my car. Oh, you can have my car. Like, people didn't know what to do with all that love. They just wanted to give.
Yeah. I can't wait, man. That's a beautiful world right there.
Yeah, we're getting there. You know, today was a little bit bigger eye opener, as above, so below. As we're waking up, Mother Earth's waking up, and as we're waking up the masses, we're seeing this as well. But it's pulling all the other things in as well.
Yeah.
So.
Imagine a world without any locks or car alarms or burglar alarms or security. I mean, think about it. It would be a completely different place if you didn't have to worry, if, you know, everybody was looking out for everybody. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. You know, yeah, there isn't the love thy neighbor. I thought about, what if there was no fences? Just something, simple things like, and, but everything from wars, it went to, this is mine, my stuff, my property.
Yeah.
And it's like, gosh, I was like, I just want to give. I don't know if I have much left to give, or at least nothing physical, but I have words and friendship and love. And
yeah, man. I think, when you really think of how there's intellectual property, and we've got people that come up with inventions, and then think of if there wasn't the whole idea of, I got to keep this invention a secret until I get it out there so no one steals this idea. If everything was sort of open source to where while you're making, say, the iPhone or whatever, people, while you're making it, says, hey, I got this great idea. Everybody's just sort of chiming in. Think of how much better the product would be when you released it than having to do revisions on it because you didn't think of those ideas at the time because you were too busy trying to keep it a secret. And I think we are really holding ourselves back because everyone hoards their information, and that's the sort of the problem we have with our history. We have this whole hidden history that is, nobody knows what's going on. Nobody knows the truth about anything because as soon as someone knows, let's create a secret society so we can protect this information. You know what I mean?
And it's not just that. Everyone has their own perception. And so I was like, how is this really going to come about in the masses? Mm-hmm. And I actually asked that earlier today. And I got something in the back of my head popped about a lot of children coming out with their visions. But it was more than that. Because us adults, people don't want to listen to us, but if a kid gets it out of nowhere, or if multiples do, mm-hmm. the innocence, people listen to that. Yeah. Maybe it might not happen like that, but I saw that and I was like, yeah, it's another great possibility how something could happen.
Totally, man. That's a beautiful place. I can't wait for it to manifest. Before I let you go, did you say you had a dream that you wanted to share? Oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say, this is even shorter than that, but I got a view of New Earth, but it was like I was shown it through the bushes. So I was like, I was just manifesting New Earth for weeks and weeks and weeks and meditating on it. It was just New Earth, love, and abundance. I was meditating. And then I was on the bushes, and I was like, this is it. I was like, oh, I don't get to come in yet. But I was able to part the bushes and look. I was like, there's people everywhere this time. Before, there was barely anyone. And it was been about a year since I've gotten anything on New Earth. And this time, I was like, full of people. It's beautiful everywhere. It's lush. There's green. And I was only shown it for a few seconds, but it really warmed my heart. So my dream. Mm-hmm. So this was last night, and I felt like it was 15, 20 years ago, back when I used to play music, and I was with an old roommate back then, and we're all hanging out, and we were having a good time, we were hanging out at the house, and then out of nowhere, I was on a ship. And I was surrounded with these 6 or 7 short, divine feminine beings mm-hmm. that it's so hard to describe what they look like. And I was like, oh, what the heck? And then all of a sudden, boom, I get thrown back into the dream. And I'm back at my friend's house, and we're hanging out, eating chips, playing guitar, doing whatever, just hanging out. That happens for another few minutes, and then I'm back on the ship. And I see this pod, and they're around the pod. And it's like, oh, wow, because there was these purple and bluish indigo crystals sticking in it. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, in my head, I was like, I've always wanted to go to a healing pod or whatever you want to call it or whatever. And because I've heard that happen to others, and I was like, that would be nice. That'd be cool if I got to experience that. But I haven't thought about that in a week. And then I got kicked back out into the dream. Mm-hmm. And it felt like they were having me be in this dream while they're doing this work. So I'm in the dream again, same thing, still just sitting around playing guitar, hanging out, listening to music, and then I go back into it, and all of a sudden I'm laying in it, and it's closing over me, and it's very, very organic, and it closes up top, and I want to say the whole thing is like a white color, but in different egg-shaped parts of it, like spots, are full of these purple and indigo bluish crystals. And I was like, oh, I'm getting something worked on or something healed. And then I got kicked out of it again, and I'm back at my buddy's house. And all of a sudden I'm like carrying an amp out of nowhere, and then I was only there for like 2 seconds, and I'm back in there. And then it got really tight, and I started getting really claustrophobic. And it felt like it was getting tighter, and I was trying to like, because it wasn't that tight before, and I felt like my light body was starting to grow a little, and I heard them barely say, he needs to relax. He needs to relax. And I was like, I was so claustrophobic. Like, it was definitely, it felt like to me, like ego. Because I finally used my energy, and I was like, I'm getting out of this, because I felt like I couldn't breathe, I couldn't move. And I go to push on it, and it starts to move, and then, boom, I got kicked out completely, open up my eyes, and my heart was hurting a little. And I felt it pounding, and I could feel it pounding through my bed. And I was like, wow. And I'm laying there, and I was just thinking about how claustrophobic. I was like, who would want to be claustrophobic? And when I finally came to after a few minutes, I was like, okay, that was definitely ego, because right now you could put me in anything and I'd be fine, because how I've been, I could meditate in anything. And it was beautiful. But it felt like that was working on opening the heart and like purging out the last bit of ego. It was something like I've never experienced. Kind of like everything has been, like, always something new.
Yeah, that sounds like really a great way of thinking about how our ego can sort of strangle our spiritual man, you know what I mean? Not let him breathe, and to keep him from growing, sort of like a tight outfit or something, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because I thought, I don't know, how I am now, and my ego is mostly not there, and it obviously, I felt like that's what it was in that, because now it's like, if I was there, I would be in such peace. Yeah. But it was weird. It really pushed it out, and because they were just so divine, and it's like you couldn't help but just like feel like melting. It was just like, well, everything is great. But from me going back and forth, I felt like they were giving me the dream, so they could do that.
Right.
And my energies kept going back and forth, and then I freaked out, and then I was like, oh, I hope something got done that was supposed to get done. And I was like, oh, I'm sure. I go, this could be happening on a scale where I was actually just seeing it for the first time. It could be happening already, and this is the only time I've ever seen it.
Right. Definitely.
But they were, it was pretty amazing. Like, that was the first time I've really experienced anything with any other type of beings like that. Everything else has been ascended masters, and I always thank my galactic family for all that they're doing, even though not everyone sees it, or I don't see it all. But I always thank them, and so that was a very loving experience, minus the claustrophobic part. But
right.
Besides that, it was pretty amazing.
Well, I appreciate you sharing that with us, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's been a while. We'll have to chat again. Yeah.
All right, buddy. Definitely. Well, thanks for calling in. Lots of love and light to you, bro.
To you as well. I love you all. Bye.
Bye-bye. Awesome. Scott Light Warrior Craig from the chat. And he was on a while back, so if you guys didn't get to hear, I had him live. Oh, he can tell you in the chat because it was right around his birthday. Did a couple of shows with him back then that were pretty great that you can go check out and hear more of his backstory, which is definitely very interesting. Hey, Josee, was Walter wanting to call in, or should I wrap this up? Let me see here. Let's see here. Let me just shout out to everybody in the chat really fast here. Lots of love to everybody. I thought I saw something earlier about Meditation Man wanting to say something, but perhaps I missed it. Ah, here we have an incoming call. Welcome to the program. This is Shane. Who am I talking to?
Hey, Shane, this is Laz. I finally got in.
What's up, man? Who is this?
Laz from Transmissions Forever.
Oh, welcome to the program, man.
Yeah. I guess...
what part of the country are you calling from? Or the world, I should say.
Miami, Florida.
Oh, nice, man. Nice, very nice. Yeah, I like Miami.
I'm gonna turn off my phone, okay?
Okay.
Oh no, but I have to talk through the phone, so I'll go ahead and...
Yeah, you might want to just mute the video if you've got it going. It might echo back on you. But I don't hear it, but it might be confusing for you to hear 20 seconds later. It's the same thing. Oh, 22:22, the time. Very nice.
Yeah, no, when you guys was talking about the time, I actually was flipping through I use military time because it gives a lot of more numbers on it.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
Me too.
You get twos and you get more zeros and ones and all that.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I've been getting a lot of ringing lately, and there's I got a lot of experiences. I don't know which topic you want to go into, but if you want to talk about anything in particular,
yeah.
I know.
What about your awakening? What was the that's sort of the title, that the title is the catalyst. I mean, a lot of us had a big event that sort of woke us up to the deeper meaning in life, or spirituality, or whatever. What was your biggie?
Well, my biggie was, I'm kind of like you. I come from a Christian background. I actually was into about 4 religions deeply, and I was in religion since I was 16 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of the youngest deacon in the church, and most likely I was. I even got. I used to get trophies as I was the youngest one, and did all the things and collected the offerings, and anybody that's in the church is pretty much very spiritual. When I started going out, and I found myself that I needed there was something I was missing, so I went into a Pentecostal church.
Mm-hmm.
Really, religion is not, you can't look at things with religion. You got to look at more as spirituality. And I saw one person in an aisle, they would speak these undiscernible words.
Mm-hmm.
And when
are you talking about at the Pentecostal church, the speaking in tongues, or are you talking?
Yeah, I didn't want to say that, but
oh yeah,
but
dude, I was raised in the Pentecostal Holy Roller Church. We did the speaking in tongues and the shouting, and it scared people that didn't know. Man, they'd come in there and they're like, "What's going on?" But yeah, I know all about it.
Yeah. Oh, but it's a lot more. What I did is I came from a Seventh-day Adventist background, so I went into there,
mm-hmm.
and I saw this, and I go, "What?"
Right.
I said to myself, "You know something? I wonder how that feels.
Right.
And I always tell people, be careful what you ask for, because you might get it. That very day, the pastors all prayed for me because I was new in the church. So then they prayed.
To baptize you in the Holy Spirit?
Oh, my goodness, my brother. When I got home, and it's still till today, but it was intense for like 10 years.
Yeah.
I couldn't close my eyes without speaking in tongues.
Mm-hmm.
My wife had to learn how to sleep with me, speaking in all kinds of languages for 8 to 10 hours a night. She went for years without sleeping well, and she finally got used to it. And she couldn't, I'm trembling right now, she couldn't get near me or touch me or anything because it was like this energy field. It was kind of weird. It's like an anointing.
Yeah.
So she would always kind of like just put her hands in prayer, and she would listen to me. And let me tell you, I have to thank my wife so much because she loves me so much for her to go through that with me. Because let me tell you, after that, I started dancing in the Pentecostal church, and they would, it's kind of like okay to dance a little, when they were singing. But it was kind of strange. So my next big thing that happened, which really set it all straight, was I got invited to this person that was Messianic. It was like Pentecostal with a Jewish twist.
Right.
So then when I went in there, I was in the church. All of a sudden, I would get the Spirit, feel that the blessing, and I would speak in tongues, and I would dance with the. So then the pastor came over. I visited the congregation. It was a Pentecostal, but he was more into Judaism. So when he said, you dance just like the King David used to dance. I go, what? He says, yeah. I said, you dance with grace.
Mm-hmm.
Because I would be, brother, I would dance for hours if they would play the music.
Yeah.
And then I would dance. So then that was normal for me.
Right.
And then when I started doing that more and more and more and more, I started getting into the singing and the music. But one big thing that this leads to is that you get to the point where you ask for something.
Mm-hmm.
And I got into 1 week solid prayer because I fell into tears when I read the story of how Elisha was following Elijah for the cloak, and for him to give him the cloak before he leaves.
Right.
And he was persistent, and that brought me tears every time. So I said to God, I want that double anointing.
Mm-hmm.
And then I got down on my knees for a week. So I got home from work, and my wife was going, what's going on here? And she didn't understand, but I just was there. And then one day, all I heard was, is that what you want? Here. And then after that, it was like everything, I didn't remember who I was before. It was the biggest epiphany ever in my life. And it can happen in any kind of situation. You don't have to have religion, I would say, per se.
And I think that's a good point, because I think a lot of people experience something like that in the church, and they equate that with religion. And really, that happens to people in any religion, any walk of life, even people that, aren't into any religion. They'll have these moments of real divine connection, like what you're explaining, very real. And it's easy for us to sort of connect that to a church building somewhere or whatever religion, instead of saying that, God can reach us anywhere we're at, and a loving God would, come to us wherever we're at, you know?
He had, after that, I couldn't look at someone and not know what their emotions were, how they were feeling. I entered into a stage where I was ministering to people at a different, it didn't matter if I was there in their house or not.
Right.
I would be at home and then pray and then go resolve. It opened up so many, I would say, doors, because what happens is when, from what I've learned is as we ascend, these opportunities open up.
Yeah.
And we all have to be wise to watch the opportunities so that we can catch them.
I totally agree. Yeah, man. Sounds like you became way more, after this event for yourself, you became more of an empath, and you just had a lot more empathy towards the feelings of others, and that barrier between you and others broke down, you know?
I can tell you a couple of things I do at night that lately, with all these like energy bursts and stuff that we see happening to people and they're getting these experiences, when at night is when I really go to work. And I've been all of a sudden awakened to this year, and when I go to sleep, it's like a whole new other world. Trust me, all men listening, there's a whole other world out there when you go to sleep. This is not real, what we have here. This is a playground for us to learn.
Yeah.
For us to go then when we sleep and really do the work of God. Because when me and my wife, we meet in the dream world, and we go into, I guess you would call it, timelines. It's just something I can talk one day, but it's really intricate. I go into these, I guess you would call, places where people are held in these spheres. It's hard to explain because it's really like in the spiritual world where, you know, the battle is really there. So I help release people from these places and guide them through. It's kind of like almost like what you would call like when people die, you never know what really happens there. And I can tell you pretty much when people die, they're there trapped, and they're actually the angels that do come and assist them out. They're actually people too that come, and I'm one of them that do that with my wife. We've done hundreds in one night. This week alone, we've done maybe I'm not sure 15 or 20. We can actually count how many. So there are groups of people, and this might seem, like I said, there's a lot of strange things that happen. So when you actually go to sleep, there's a lot there that happens that we're actually, when you wake up, it's just forgotten.
Yeah.
So it's actually the state of lucidity that God was talking about, where you can actually get the visions of the new earth, the different places. So
I agree.
The lucidity, it gives you the access while you're there, and when you go to sleep, if you prepare yourself when you go to sleep, I don't know if you do that, Shane, when you go to sleep, you can say it's a prayer, but I always say, you know, God help me, guide me through all, and allow me. And I do have a firm belief in what I call the original Jesus, because there's a lot of Jesuses out there, if you know that.
Right.
There's a lot of what people think Jesus is, and it's really entrapment. It's not really what Jesus wanted. We're supposed to be the Spirit is free, the Spirit moves, and the Spirit has grace, and it works with all. And it's one of the principles that I learned, which you must allow the Spirit to work and do all in your life. When you do that, all these things come to you. You can be You can help God and help in the ascension. It's just how much you want to be involved in. How much are you willing to believe in on what God can do for you?
And that's sort of what the problem I have with religion is, not so much, because I think it was a wonderful stepping stone for me and many others, but it's when your religion causes you to be closed-minded and not open to receive other gifts from God, because religion sort of puts handcuffs on God and says, well, he only operates this way. So, other things come around, you're like, well, that can't be God because it doesn't fit inside my religion. But, God can do anything, right? I mean, should we limit?
Oh,
man.
What I mean?
We can't limit
some
them.
of the stuff, yeah. That's just one little thing that I do.
Yeah.
And there's others. There's like, how many times have you gone to the supermarket and go and look at people and talk to people? People, you don't realize that when you have God in you and you actually talk to someone, you affect them.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the point of how you interact with things, your environment. This is all a place where you need to accelerate all the things that you have within you as part of the image of God. We're part of an image that is to have all and to be all. So it's kind of almost like that gentleman you had on, which was the other day, which now let me look at.
Was it Brandon?
Yeah.
Brandon Avalon?
Me and him, believe it or not, me and him do these email links, and when I write on when he does his video, it's like I'm there with him doing it. So it's kind of there's a lot more. Believe me, there's a lot more to this ascension that we're going to. You can call it ascension. You can call it, I guess, purge. You can call it purifying the soul. However you want to call it. You can't really brand it and put a label on it.
Right.
And you can use many things to assist. You can use crystals. And it all boils down to what you believe in. If you have the grain of a mustard seed of faith, of belief, whatever you put yourself to and you believe that, it's going to happen. So this is what I tell everybody is you're the locomotion. And if you set that train in a direction, it's going to go that direction. So all of us need to put our trains in the right direction so that the locomotion can happen in favor of us, of what we desire. So
yeah, I think
yeah, go ahead.
I think we really put limits on the possibilities, you know what I mean? It's like anything's possible, but we have to get beyond our own limitations and just sort of think outside the box and realize that, anything at all is possible. Let's not limit that creator, essence, source, God, whatever you want to feel comfortable calling the source, and just realize, and that's why I always point to the Mandela effect. I'm like, look, things are changing in an impossible way. I mean, if things can change this way, tomorrow we might all wake up on New Earth and people will be like, hey, it's always been like this. You know what I'm saying? So.
Sorry, Metal Rabbit. I sometimes speak in parables. It's another thing that happens. I'm dyslexic, so I flip things around, and I flip things in letters. But you know what? That's part of my, I guess you can call it my magic.
Right.
That's what makes me different than others. Everyone has their own gifts.
Yeah.
And I can see things. I used to get blueprints at work, and my boss didn't figure out. in 2 hours I can decipher 20 sheets of paper and
Right.
find all the mistakes. And he couldn't figure out, because I'm in electrical engineering and electrical trade as a tradesman, a journeyman. And then when I would do that, he couldn't figure out. And each one of us is born with a gift. So yeah, I have a tendency, I speak like Yoda from Star Wars. You know how he speaks backwards and stuff? And I had a helper, he would say, he would always call me Yoda because I would speak to him how to do things and how, to his work and his task, and it would be like Yoda. So, but I think it's fun. I think I love it.
Definitely, man. We've all got our own variety of how we do things, and it's beautiful, man. It would be boring if we all did the same thing, looked the same way, and believed all the exact same things. And think how boring that would be. That's why I appreciate diversity in everything, really. You know, it's like we're all here to learn, and it's a beautiful thing, man.
The last thing I'll say is be watchful, because what we're going through is a symmetry of timelines. Mm-hmm. One of the things that have been imprinted in me is timelines, and that's why, remember this now, that everything we have are timelines merging and collapsing. And that's one of the things I do at night. And when a timeline collapses, it comes forward to the person where they have to deal with it. These are the emotions that you deal with, everyone, and the feelings and the things. So what I've, and this is one of the things I help people through, are timelines. So it's one of the things I've been doing that for I think the past month, is working on timelines, and they exist, and we instantly go into one and another, and we don't realize it, and then we feel all these energies and stuff and changes. Yeah. So we're going to be more aware of it as time goes by, and I see this big like shift in the horizon. It's big. It's like a tsunami. So we have to be ready, because what it will do is allow us to see multiple realities at once. In other words, you're going to feel them. It's almost like you're going to feel different aspects of the same person at once when you speak to them. I don't know if people have been feeling that. But it's kind of like when you go to talk to someone, and then you're going to see different his whole aspect in him, in different forms, and it's all because we're all part of our beliefs, and it's all what Jesus said. What you believe in is what you become. So we have to allow all our beliefs that we have come out so that we can deal with them, and that's what we're all going to do. There's going to be many beliefs come out when we're going to do. Yeah. All right, God bless you, brother.
God bless you, brother. I appreciate it. Very well said, man. That's Transmissions Forever, you guys. And we've got Susan calling in here, I believe.
I think there's someone more that wants to talk, but I'll let you go.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Much love to all.
Much love, buddy. Bye-bye. Whoops. Are you there, Susan?
Hey, hello.
I recognize the area code. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
Doing wonderful. Glad you could make it in.
Yeah, I called in at the right time because I had to get off the video and just take a chance. But how much longer will you be on?
I'll probably round it out at 2 hours. I've been on about an hour and 45 minutes.
Great. Okay. Well, I just wanted to call in and say hello since the opportunity was there. And I wanted to let you know you contacted Shira, who wants to join us when we do our get-together.
Yeah.
But have you heard of East Ranch?
Yes, I have. It's definitely in my bucket list of things to do.
Oh, right. Well, she's there. I hope she gets to go tomorrow. She's in Oregon, seeing a friend. So I think they're going to go there for a skywatch tomorrow. I'm so excited. I can't wait to hear all about it.
Are they able to film while they're there or no?
Do what?
Are they able to take videos and stuff while they're there, or is that against the rules? They are? Okay. No. Yeah, see, I've wondered, that's like one, I was just thinking about this recently. I'm like, man, if my channel gets big enough, I might get, invited to places like this that I can't normally afford to go just to, do a video about it. Because I know you guys would love to see whatever I collect there, and I could report live from there and stuff like that. I'd love it. That would be like a dream job for me,
Right? Me too. That's my dream place to go, as you said, and I'm working on manifesting that.
Definitely. So yeah, we'll probably. I'm hoping to get together really soon. I'm still waiting on a few venue ideas. So
I know it's how long have you lived in Tulsa?
I've lived here. Well, I've lived here on and off. This last time I got here in 2009, so I've been here now almost a decade. But then I lived here before for about 5 years, I guess, something like that.
So you know the area really well.
Yeah, I was actually a manager at Domino's Pizza here when I lived here. In my teenage years, I was assistant manager. So the street system here is super easy to figure out, once you know. And it's small. You can be anywhere in like 15 minutes.
Oh, well, that's a good place to be. Yeah. I have, like I told you, my cousin that lived up there, someone just honked at me. I pulled over, and there was a parking lot. I didn't think anyone was coming. Anyway, I just left work.
No problem.
Okay. Well, I don't want to keep you because I really don't know what else to tell you about right now. I have all kinds of things I want to talk to you about, but I'm like caught off guard right now. So.
Oh, definitely. But we'll have time to catch up when we all get together in person too. That's going to be a lot of fun.
I can't wait.
All right. Thanks for calling in, Susan.
Thank you. Love everyone. Bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Okay. Nicola, did you try to call me on Messenger? I think I will close this out and take one last call on Messenger if Nicola wants to call. I'm trying to make sure I have it open, ready to go. I don't know what all I need to do. I did turn chat on. I think that's all I need. Are we already connected, Nicola? I'm not sure if we are or not. Let me see here. All right. Well. All right. So, I guess let me give her a second longer. I'll look at the chat here. Do some shout outs. Ask me to sing. No, I'm not going to sing, but you can actually look up Shane Cornell and find my music. I noticed that the music company has put some YouTube videos out of my music. Shane Cornell, Cornell. We were just, Eileen actually has some music out too. We were listening to each other's music. Totally amazed at the fact that we both sing and stuff. We were like, wow, that's so awesome. She's got a beautiful voice. It's like, and there, I know a few other musicians too. It's like, dude, we're going to be able to like start up a band or something, That will be totally awesome. Let's see. Looks like I got somebody calling in on the line here. This is Shane. Welcome to the broadcast. Are you there?
Hello.
Hello.
Is this
Welcome
Shane?
to the broadcast. Yeah, this is Shane. How are you?
Oh, you sound different on the phone. I'm just a knucklehead. Apparently, I dialed the number wrong, and I hope God knows who I just called. Oops.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah, about the catalyst to awakening.
Yeah.
Well, when I turned, it was around October when I was turning 33.
Yeah.
I started having like vivid, lucid dreamings, out of body experiences, and I had 2 children to take care of, so it started then. But I went to the doctor and they said, "Oh, you're having night terrors." So they gave me a pill and that made it go away. Well, kinda.
Oh.
All right. But then what was going on is that the work was still being done inside while I was sleeping. And then when I turned 44, which of course is a magic number that I, often affiliate with you, because you've turned 44 and you're absolutely glowing, it was like I got slapped upside the head and bam, full force. And again, around it was in my birthday month. 11 years later, which you know me, I love numbers. Oh my gosh. So when I turned 44, it was off to the races. Now, you know how it goes. It's continuous after that. But the first, thing that, happened had to do with around my birth month. And I'm just wondering how many other people have that first aha, that slap on the top of your head and telling you to wake up, time to get to work, around their birth month. It's just something that's interested me because both times it was around my birth month with an 11-year gap. And, it started when I turned 44, it started again with the lucid dreaming, speaking in this foreign language, which was not taught in the church that I was raised in. So all of these things were going on, which kind of frightened my husband and I from our religious upbringing. Everything was so out of the box, so out of the norm. We didn't know what was going on. But I appreciate channels like yours and other people coming out and talking about this because it brings so much comfort to other people. I could only wish that when this was going on with me, that I would have come across somebody like you to help walk me through this and get a better understanding by the variety of guests and the synchronicities, and because you feel like you are alone. I mean, it was a very lonely time. I had my husband, thank goodness, who was open-minded enough to not, to kind of go along with me and not shut it off. But even he at times, he's like, I think this is of the devil. You know how Christianity works. And I'm like,
oh, yeah.
It can't be from the devil. I mean, what? How could this be from the devil? I don't, so I did use the Bible to get me through. But we learned to rightly divide. And I think this also has to do with the time that we're going into, the age of Aquarius, and this solar cycle and all of this bunch of good stuff that's going on within each of us. We're being very symptomatic right now as an uptick as this alignment is going into place. And can I ask you one question before I hang up?
Sure.
As for we know that they don't have cameras up there telling us, okay, but just by the parable of this, do you remember when you were in school being taught that we were on the outskirts on the Sagittarius arm?
That's a very good question. I can't remember the exact name, but I remember we were so far out. I recognize, more than the name, I recognize our position as,
okay, that's great,
not being right. I remember us being way far out to where I was like, oh, wow, we're like out in the middle of no man's land, basically.
With the orange sun. And
exactly.
Then now, where they say we're located now on this Orion Spur, which is much closer to the light source.
It's about halfway close. I mean, it's like halfway the distance from what I remember being taught in school.
Yes.
Yeah.
So in the parable way of looking at that is we're moving through this together. And, even from that, looking at that as a parable, we know, I know everybody's like, NASA's false and all that stuff. But look at it as the parable of where we are as we are getting closer to Source, God, and things are being back the restoration period. We're being restored to what we were before, and it's been a long time talked about, and we're just happening to be living in it. It's wonderful.
Yeah,
Well,
two things to add to what you were saying is, one is, you know, the Bible teaches us, seek and you shall find, and, you know, when people are always looking for demons under every rug, and
you'll find that.
Right. Why aren't they surprised that they're finding them, right? So
That's right. That's right. And that's another thing, you know, when somebody said something in the chat about repenting. Well, I had the overwhelming feeling, and that was part of the this process. But the repenting was because I didn't understand, you know, with the field that is around us and the things that we say or think, even our thoughts, we have this field around us, and when, you know, they feel that. And so the repenting that I did was I did not know how I affected other people, and learning how we affect one another. You know, you will repent because you're going to feel bad because you did it in ignorance. And when you know, get your eyes popped open and you realize how important each and every one of us are to each other, and that we're all a oneness. We may have our individuality, which keeps it interesting. You know, different cultures, all that's beautiful. We don't want to be automatons. We want variety. But when you realize that, you know, things that I did in my past and things like how it affected other people, I repented. I felt horrible. My heart was cracked wide open, and that's what I went into repent. I cried for like 3 weeks straight, just feeling bad about when I came to the knowledge and that catalyst point of how my actions, my thoughts, my deeds affected other people. We think, you know, we have an exchange of words and we walk away, it's done. No, there's an energetic signature behind it, and we know not what we do, and that's in the Bible too. You know, even Christ himself had to teach him how to pray. And I just want to say I am very grateful that you're doing that session on the 8th and teaching prayer, proper prayer, because it is so important. It's so very, very important.
Yes,
so, yeah, that's all.
Tomorrow,
and I just wanted to pop in and just stick with your category of the catalyst. And that was my catalyst, you know, it just seemed to be around my birth month. Yeah. And I got an 11-year break, and it was like a bonk on top of the head. Well, enough time for you. No more dream work. Let's now start applying it, and we're going to you're gonna go through this a little quicker.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that, Michelle.
Well, thank you. And Bob Bamps in the chat, he's my strength, because you always have a lot of people, so it makes me nervous. But, yeah, I love you, Shane, and you have a blessed day and wonderful open love stream. Loved it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, bye-bye. Whoops. I cut off her bye-bye. Sorry about that. I was trying to get to this other one. But just to chime in on what she was saying about the birth month, I think that's an important thing because, you know, I sort of woke up to the whole Mandela effect on March 22nd of, I guess it was 2017 now. And so it was like a week before my birthday, and I always thought of it as being connected with the spring equinox. But really, maybe it was what she's saying. Maybe it has something to do with our birthday, lining up with, you know, who knows. I'm on the fence about it. You know how that works. I'm going to take one last quick call with Nicola. Let me see if I can get her on the horn here. Oh, let me see what I need to do here. Oh, okay. There we go. Sorry, my security stuff was blocking my connection. Is this going to work here? I'm trying to call you. Let's see what happens.
Hey Shane, it's Nicola. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you great. How are you?
Oh, I'm really good. I've got through to you. Oh,
I just saw a video the other day. It says Australia isn't even real. So where are you calling me from, really?
Oh, it's not nowhere. I don't know. Yeah,
Did you see that? It's like, oh my gosh, what are they going to come up with next?
yes, I know.
I thought of a number of people. You were one of them. When I saw that video, I'm like, I got people that contact me from Australia all the time, and I know they're not actors.
Yeah,
Actresses.
yeah. I want you to say, I really am here. Yeah. Oh, it's so good to see you.
It's wonderful to finally talk to you after all these months of having you chime in. And what time is it? It's Saturday afternoon,
yes,
right?
it's Saturday about lunchtime. Yeah, I kind of should see the clock at the moment, but yes.
It's amazing.
Show,
You're calling us from the future. She's calling us from the future, you guys. This is amazing.
I know. Isn't it weird, isn't it? Yeah.
It's wonderful.
It was 11:11 when I got on your show this morning.
Oh,
now,
that's
how about
awesome.
that for synchronicity?
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So, I can't remember, when was your first time when you first realised your major thing for the Mandela effect, when it really hit you?
Oh, for me that's what I was just saying. It happened March 22nd of last year, which was right before my birthday. So I was just talking about with Michelle. She was saying that she had sort of these aha moments around her birthday. And I was like, oh, I always thought of it being connected with the spring equinox maybe, but maybe it was because it was close to my birthday. Who knows?
Right. Oh, my goodness. And do you know something? My dad's birthday is March 22nd.
Oh, wow.
And I'm March 20th.
Oh, okay. Mine's actually March 30th.
Oh, yeah, that's really, wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. God, that's like, we're all Aries.
Yeah. The 20th is when it switches to Aries, right?
That's right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, although I'm a Pisces in all the books, but in the big ephemeris, which is the big book on star signs, it's like a really big thick book, I am actually an Aries, but people will think I'm a Pisces. Yeah. So yeah.
What do they know, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So when are you going to get your channel going? Are you still going to do that?
Oh, I definitely will. I've been suffering. I've got not suffering, but I've got back pain, and it's getting better. But I'm just I'm getting there. But I'm going to open up a healing center within a year and a half from my salon, from my hair studio that I closed down. So it's so I'm really looking forward to that.
I knew you were dealing with some back pain and stuff, but I was hoping that wouldn't keep you from getting your channel going. Definitely not the healing center.
Yeah. It's just, there's a lot of things that, I'm dealing with at the moment, but because when I do something, I want to do it, properly. So, I want to be there, and, when I do it, I've got a lot to give.
Well, whenever you are ready, you already have my support. I'll have you on. I can promote your channel and get all that going, because we're all one big happy family. It's wonderful.
Oh, thank you, Shane. Oh, when I first saw you, I just knew when you were first talking, you were so sincere in what you were saying when you first started your channel. And you found out about a month after I did in 2017. You were February, weren't you? Yeah, in 2017.
Yeah, I started the channel in February, and then I wasn't even doing Mandela effect stuff, and then I realized about a month after I started my channel, and it sort of turned into a Mandela effect channel because it was so mind-blowing,
Yes, I know, isn't it? Wow, and it was so good to find out that I wasn't the only one, because I've been having these memories since 1994, since Interview with a Vampire.
Oh yes.
Yes, my husband and I, which boyfriend and I back then, we went to the movies one week, and it was an interview with a vampire. 2 weeks later, we went back, and I said, "Look, Gary, it's changed to Interview with the Vampire." I said, "That doesn't make sense." He says, "Oh, that was always like that." I said, no, it wasn't, because how does it make sense? It's not even Dracula. It doesn't even, the
Right.
vampire doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So that's when I noticed. I was 16 years old then, and yeah, and then I noticed Sex in the City and everything. I've noticed about 15 things before, yeah, 2017 when it got confirmed, and yeah.
Yeah,
So,
you're one of the people I
yeah.
often think about when people say, well, has this just been happening, the last few years or for a while? I'm like, no, there's people that's been noticing for a long time. And I'm with you with the interview with the vampire thing. It was new. I just realized it changed within the last couple of years, but I definitely know it was an interview with a vampire. Definitely. There's no doubt
Yes.
about it. It's the whole Sex in the City thing. You say it real
Yes.
fast and it's hard to tell which one you're saying. But
Yes.
they're two completely different names to me now, and it's
Yeah.
wild.
Yes, yes. Because Sex in the City was one of my favorite shows. I mean, did you used to watch it every week? And
I never watched it.
yeah.
I might have saw
Oh,
pieces of it, but I
right.
I saw it there would always be like articles on newspaper covers or not newspaper, but magazine covers. You'd see something about a star of Sex in the City. And,
Yes.
I saw it all the time. I mean, it was so publicized that there's no
Yeah.
doubt in my mind it was Sex in Sex in
In
the
the
City.
city.
Right.
Yes, yes.
Not Sex
And
and the City, as it is now. For those who don't know that it's changed, it's Sex and the City, not in the city like most of us remember.
yes, that's right. And the first time I found out, it was a big billboard when I went to the movies, and it was Sex and the City, and I thought, oh, they must have just changed it for the movie. That's
Oh,
how that's
yeah.
what I thought. Yeah. And then I realized years later on, no, it's changed. And I went, oh, goodness me.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was 3 years old when I knew this was going to happen, but I didn't know it was going to be the Mandela effect.
Oh,
I was
wow.
laying in bed at 3 years old because I know which bedroom I was in, and I said, when I grow up, I'm going to be part of something. I'm not going to be anything special above like anybody else, but it's going to be something really big, something big changing in my life. Because I just woken up out of a dream, and I said, how do I know that people are real in this world, when I'm waking, and to when I was asleep? And
Right.
yeah, when I was 3 years old, I said in my dream, I said, "Mummy, are you real?" She said, "Of course I am." Okay. And then I woke up. She came in, and I said, "Mummy, are you real?" And she said, "Yeah, yes, I am." And I thought, how would I know? That
Right.
was, yeah.
I'm
That
totally
was,
in agreement with you with that. I mean, how do we know? It's like, I hear people all the time say, it's like, what's the difference in a dream? When you're in a dream, you don't know it. I mean, how do we know we're not going to wake up again out of this dream,
no, you don't know. Especially as in Inception, how they, when they were in the coffee shop and she didn't notice.
Yeah.
You don't, do you? You
No.
don't notice when you're in a dream until you become lucid in a dream.
Mm-hmm.
And you've had lucid dreams lately, haven't you? When you were swimming in the pool.
Right, yeah.
And flying.
Yeah,
And,
that's wonderful.
yeah, it is, isn't it? That's how I first learned to fly in my lucid dreams. I wasn't actually in a pool, but I just swam up in the air naturally. So, yeah. When did you first have your lucid dream? How old were you?
I think I've always sort of had them from time to time, but just
Yep.
didn't really know what they were until this last year, but I wish they were all like that, but some of them are they seem like nonsense. Some of them seem really symbolic, but really important, but not lucid, and then other
Yeah.
times it's just like, I really feel like I'm somewhere else experiencing something elsewhere, like the one where I was training to fly, and the other
Yes.
one where we were training, it was real similar to one I'd had like a few weeks before that one, the swimming one, where we were just training two teams. We split into two teams and we were training, just like a fun sort of, I thought of it like the beginning of that Tomb Raider game, where you're in the mansion and you're just sort of training or whatever for anybody that's played that game. But it was sort of like that, like an obstacle course training thing, and it was just all for fun. But sort of a Hunger Games sort of scenario, but much cleaner, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, and so then you were pushing up in the water, and then you managed to get up out of the water.
Yeah.
Is that because you realised you were in a dream, and if you know you're in a dream, you know you can do it because you're not really there, if you know what I mean.
Right. I remember thinking I could be my own drone and take my own footage with my camera and stuff. I was like, this is so cool.
I remember you saying that, yeah. Your own drone.
Yeah.
It is absolutely amazing. I've flown and actually changed the colours of the scenery around me, and I've seen magnificent in cliff faces, magnificent castles, a whole different world full of purples and pinks, and while I'm flying, and it's just absolutely fantastic. So many different things. It's
I love that.
Incredible. Isn't that lovely?
Yeah, I've even had it where I wake up and go right. I'm like, oh, I got to get back. That was wonderful. Then you fall right back to sleep and like continue where you were.
Yeah.
Have you done that before?
Yes, yes, I have continued.
Yes.
Yes. Do you have have you got a mini series going of dreams? I actually have a mini series going of dreams of when I was at school. Like I go back into the same sort of.
Oh, really? No, I don't. But Michelle Wolf was talking about doing that or going back to the same place a lot. But I don't really do that too much.
Yes, I heard her say that. We're listening to that one that time. Yes,
yeah.
I remember. Yes. Oh wow. Oh, we've got so much to talk about.
I know, really.
Please, I must ask you one thing.
Sure.
You were so good at doing the meditation last week.
Oh,
now,
thank you so much. Yeah, we're actually going to play that. That was pre-recorded, and we're going to play a segment of that tomorrow during the live show, because that wasn't live when I recorded it, so that we can all do it together.
Oh, wonderful! What time is that
That's going to be
your time?
That's going to be midnight UTC. I don't know if you can do the math from there.
Well, I'll work it out. Yep.
Okay, it's 8 p.m. Eastern. I don't know which one's easier to work out for you.
Oh, yes, the 8 p.m. Eastern. I remember that from Dr. Lupo's show. He used to go from that. So, yes, yeah. Do you remember, did you watch Dr. Lupo before in the first starting out in the career?
Actually, I found out about him through Unirock.
Yes.
Yeah, I haven't watched a whole lot of them because he kind of got into gardening and other things that I wasn't as interested in. But yeah, but I know who he is because he went on Unirocks for a while. That he went and visited him, and I was watching all of those where they visited some kind of serpent site or something. Did you see that?
I've seen it when he went to his house. Is that right?
Yeah, and then they visit some kind of ancient. I don't know, a place where from the sky it looked like the Serpent Hill, Serpent Mounds or something?
No, I missed that one. I saw it once when he went to his house, one episode of that.
Yeah, they all went together.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, it was really neat. But it kept breaking up because the signal, they said it was the energies in there was breaking up the signal. But it was a cool video. I went and looked it up while I was watching it and got some aerial views of it. And it did look like I think it actually was called the Serpent Mounds. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So talking about serpents, snakes I have been scared of my entire life since I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
So yeah, my biggest fear, I can't pick up a magazine. And apparently I got told I had a past life in Egypt and I used to be in control of the snakes, the cobras, and so they wouldn't. I used to train them, and I lapsed concentration. I got bit and I died. So that's what I got told when I was 19, when I was in a circle. Yeah. I've been involved with spirituality my whole life. Yeah, but I have no memory. Yeah.
I remember the Raiders of the Lost Ark scene really spooked me out with the snake pit or whatever. That was pretty awful.
It did, didn't it? And guess what? The snakes went through the eyes of the
Oh, skeleton.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, so creepy.
Yeah, yeah, but that means that we didn't have blocked eyes at the back then, did we? Because they had holes through the eyes.
Very good
See?
point.
That's
Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Wow.
I just can't believe all the body changes and like nobody around me in my family, nobody, it's like, so I just don't talk about it.
Definitely. Yeah, it's nice that we
Yeah.
have each other in this whole community of people that know we're not crazy. You know?
Oh, it is absolutely. Oh, can I just tell if anybody listening, if they're in a dream that they're lucid and they're stuck in a dream and they find that they can't get out and they're afraid, you always can. You just ask whoever you believe in, whether it's Jesus Christ or Father, Mother, God, or the light or a higher source. You ask to surround in white light and you keep firmly believing in that and you will wake up from your dream.
Mm-hmm.
And you absolutely will, because nothing can harm you. You're in a dream, but then you get sometimes once I got stuck and in the end I just said, Christ, the light of Christ come through me, and I woke up because
Definitely.
just woke straight up. Yep. So
Yeah, I always do the
there you
light
go.
thing. Any problems I have, and it just seems to always solve it. Even the time that I think I ruined it, I was about to do, maybe an out-of-body experience in my sleep or whatever, but I imagine being clothed in the light of God, and, it went away. But now I know, looking back on it, it was nothing to fear, but it even took it away then when I, now looking in retrospect, didn't want it to, But it was good for me then.
Yes, before you do, you're so good to do that before we do any spiritual work or intention of hopping out of your body. Always surround yourself in white light. I always do that before I go to sleep and have the intent to have an orb or out-of-body experience, and then I'll hop out during the night.
Yeah.
And then float around my bedroom and then go through my bedroom door and out the house and fly up over my fence, and then I go into the lucid dream world then. So yeah, that's how that one works for me.
Oh, that's wonderful. I can't wait. I keep trying. I almost got there last night, matter of fact. I was like, oh, here it's happening, and then I wake up, later on. I'm like, oh no, I fell asleep. I missed it.
Yeah, the thing is, it will happen. My spiritual teacher always said, it'll happen when you're ready, and it will happen for you, Shane. And what I do is, when it goes to happen, I don't get excited anymore, and you've got to trust it, because I actually move my arms, my astral arms first to get out of my body, and then my legs, but it actually feels like it's your real arms and your real legs. So you feel like you're actually going to fall on the floor. So actually, that's how, I mean, some people just float out differently, like up or, out through the head. But for me, I throw my legs over first, or then my arms, and then I just, and I end up, upright, and then I spin clockwise, to sort of ground myself in the astral plane, and just like you're ice skating, like you're pulling your arms in, and going around, and every time you think you're going to wake up, spin clockwise again. So and that way you ground yourself in the astral plane, in your lucid dream.
That's nice to know, because I actually was moving around last night. I was like, oh no, because I've been told you don't want to move your physical body, and then I felt like I was moving my physical body, and I was like, wait a minute, I didn't really move, and I got excited that it was happening, and then I was like, no, you've got to relax. Don't get too excited, because it kept seeming like it was pulling me out when my adrenaline would sort of pump a little bit. So then I got to the point where I was like, just relax, and I fell asleep.
Oh, wow.
I'll get there. I'm getting so close.
He relaxed. He fell asleep.
Yeah.
Oh, bless you.
Oh,
Oh,
gosh.
bless you. Oh, that was so good. How you felt that you felt your foot moved, didn't you? Did you say your foot? Or
My arms. Yeah, I could tell I moved them, but I didn't really move
yes.
them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're there. See, you've already done it. You've already, experienced it. So you're already there. So you just know that you can do it, and you will. You just know.
Yeah.
Just go to bed and say, I will. Remember, with your protection up, with your white light, and you will be protected.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think the more I do those little, getting real close, the more I'll get more familiar with it, and then it'll happen. It's just, I'm impatient. I want it now. But
I know. I know. Yeah, I did when I was little as well. I was about 9. I was falling actually through the bed. So, yeah. Do you remember what age roughly you were? Was it about the same age? You astral projected? You're orbed, actually getting out of your body.
Well, the first time it was like buzzing, and it was a nightmare, and it was
right.
It was pretty awful. But the other time when I didn't know what was happening, I kept thinking I was rolling over, and I was going to wake my wife up because I thought something health-wise was going on, and I'd roll over to wake her up, and then I realized that I'd never moved, and then I kept doing it over and over again, probably 6 times before I was like, I'm not really rolling over. What's happening?
Wow. Oh,
yeah.
Geez, it sounds so the same. You get stuck in that loop.
Yeah. It was fun, though.
Yeah.
I even got up and felt the ceiling and the floor, and I'm like, all right, I'm finally awake. And then, bam, back in the bed again. I'm like, I didn't move again. What's going on?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
You I understand. You trick yourself into believing you're awake.
Yeah.
I know. You go to cycles. Oh.
Yeah.
And then in the end, you get up out of bed when you're really awake and you have to really check, don't you?
Yeah. And what finally did it is my phone did a notification sound, and I remember anchoring to that sound. I was like, that's the real world I just heard. Go there, and then I sort of pulled myself out, and I actually woke up. But I didn't know what was going on, or I wouldn't have ruined it. I would have been like, all right, let's go with this. Let's explore or something,
Yeah. Oh, my goodness. Oh, wow. This is wonderful. Like, wow, we are all waking up. Everybody is, aren't we?
Fun times, yeah. It's really fun times.
It is wonderful. It is fun. It is fun. I've never was scared of the Mandela effect, not once. It was the most exciting, vindicating thing for me ever, just knowing that all these memories were my own.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't
Yeah.
imagine going through it alone. You had to feel like you were losing your mind at some points, but man, it's nice.
Yeah.
It's like I woke up in a sci-fi movie or show or something. It's
It
cool.
is. And haven't you always wanted to do that all your life? And
Yeah.
now we're in it. Yes.
Yeah, you always wanted that real magic, and I remember thinking, where's
Yes.
the real magic? It's here now, and I'm enjoying it.
Yes. Oh, we are so lucky to be alive in this time.
Oh,
We are
yeah.
so lucky. So lucky. Oh,
Well,
wow. Yeah. I better let you go.
I appreciate you coming on. It was so nice to finally talk to you in person. We chat all the time in the comments, and wow, it's nice.
Oh, thank you so much for waiting for me as well. And I realised I hadn't joined you on Facebook, so yeah, that was the problem.
No problem.
I figured it out. You were my first person to speak to on Facebook. So in America, wow. Even like I haven't talked to anyone in Australia either. So
Oh, well, you know what? Someone sent me an invite right before you, and they were from Melbourne, Australia, and I was like, oh my gosh, is this her with a different name maybe, or a different account? And I'm like, hey, is this Nicola? I'm just noticing that they finally hit me back. No, I think you got the wrong name.
Oh, bless. Oh, God.
At least it's the middle of the day there, and I'm not hitting them up at, midnight or something.
That's right. Yeah, it's not like a crank call. Yeah.
Sorry, Irene. I thought you were. Oh, how do you pronounce your name? I always say Nicola, and it's Nicola.
It's Nicola, yes, as in Nikola Tesla, as in
okay.
Nicola, but I'm with the C. Yes, so I've got a boy's name now.
Oh no, it's nice.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, I was just thinking of it as a strong female name now.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. I'm going to wrap up the whole program here. We've been going almost 2.5 hours. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
It's just been a blast. But I'm going to do this more often. So
Thank you. Thank you for waiting for me. And what time are you in America there before you go?
it's 10:25 p.m. here.
Oh, well, you have gone over time. Yes, your
No
poor
problem.
wife, you've got to spend some time together.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. And goodbye, everybody in the chat. It was really, it's so good. I'm on this side of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're on this side of the veil. Hopefully we can move to the real other side, right?
I have, yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, Shane. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye-bye now.
Okay, bye-bye, Shane. Bye.
Nicola from Australia. That was so nice to finally talk to her in person. Well, lots of love and light to everybody in the chat. I've got to wrap all this up. I wish I could just make it what we were talking about Coast to Coast AM earlier in Art Bell. And I would like to go Coast to Coast AM all the way, or really around the world all night long. That would be a blast. But unfortunately, my studio is in my bedroom, and people have to sleep, So lots of love and light to everybody in the chat. Thank you so much for joining, and I will talk to you later. Have a good one. See you tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.